I mean, the fairy tale chapter was pretty simple. I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Ready?
Yep.
Anyway, so fairy tale. The chapter was pretty simple. I mean, you we find out that yes, Charlotte learned transformation magic so she can have a human form,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, and we also find out that disappointingly, Wendy hasn't changed one bit, not even grown an inch. Like I can okay, you can maybe make a case that she's still too young to start having curves, but you can't tell me that within an entire year, a child within an entire year hasn't even grown an inch. That just blows my mind that he would even pull that off. Like, the whole thing about people saying that Wendy's is a character that's supposed to appeal to the Lolita group.
That
That's
she
fine,
is.
but Lolitas don't have to necessarily they can be a little bigger.
Yeah, whatever.
And she also, as some people expected, and as some people didn't expect, depending on who you were, she replaced her. She got replaced the fairy. She no longer has the fairy tale symbol, but has the Lamia scale symbol.
Mm-hmm.
Which, when you think about it, makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But whereas other people thought that everybody would be like Lucy, and no matter where they went, they would still keep their fairy tale symbol.
Yeah, but Lucy was different. She didn't join another guild.
Yeah. Of course, then again, is there really anything stopping, unless it's magically removed? Was there anything really stopping her from keeping it? She could have added the other symbol, but it's not like fairy tale still existed. So I mean,
yeah, it was just. It's probably just a sign of respect for the guild you're with that you only have one.
Yeah. But anyway, and interestingly enough, she immediately shoots down the idea of leaving Lamia Scale,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting, but just creates I feel like an unnecessary extension to this arc. Like the way they set it up with last chapter at the end with this whole villains. I knew this wasn't going to be 2 chapters, but they're making it seem like it could be 4 chapters as opposed to 3.
Uh-huh.
Which is annoying because next chapter they're going to do a bunch of fighting, and then they're going to maybe finish it or almost be done, and then in the next chapter finish it, and then she's going to have finally accept that she wants to leave and wants to go to Fairy Tale.
Right.
Which is going to unnecessarily extend it, I feel.
Yeah, probably.
I just hope that we're not getting a lot of 3-4 chapter recruitings for every character. Because then we'll be recruiting. We'll still be recruiting characters 2 years from now.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen.
No, but I don't want to be here this time next year and still be recruiting.
I can see 3 chapters per main character, major characters.
What do you mean major character? Technically, all the reoccurring members of Fairy Tail are technically major, except for me. Except for the only ones that the majority of them are. Well, first of all, Loxus and the Thunder Tribe are going to be together.
Mm-hmm.
It's based on Lucy's notes. It seems like Gray and Juvie are traveling together.
Uh-huh.
And was it Lizana's with her sister? So there's going to be a lot of people that are traveling together.
Mm-hmm.
Certain ones, but the only ones that are maybe gonna get 1 chapter are probably the people friggin' what was it the Levy's teammates?
Yeah.
Maybe Levy. Friggin' I'm sure, like even though Lizana and her sister are major characters, I see maybe 1 or 2 chapters with them, unless they're doing something very important.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have, let me see, and then you have all the bunch of other random ones, like the guy who was always dancing, the friggin' was it Wickaby, the one with the mind powers?
Yeah, something like that.
And then the guy with the sand,
Yeah.
Biscus and his and
Yeah, Biska and Alzak and
yeah, those guys will probably just follow, won't be more than a chapter.
Hey guys, we're back. Let's go.
Yep. But then again, there's another theory that's going along, that there's a possibility that we'll mainly focus on recruiting like like maybe a couple of like the core member, like we'll like maybe recruit like Gray and Juvia, Gajeel, Urza, and then after we get a bunch of the big ones, there'll be like some major catastrophe that draws them all together unknowingly, but like a villain will appear that will attract the attention of the other lingering members, because mainly because of the whole thing that there's a heavy they're like, they keep mentioning how Makarov is missing, like almost like that his disappearance is going to play an important role in this arc,
right?
Or a future arc, which makes me think that there's a possibility that there could be some room for, like, okay, we'll spend a couple chapters getting Wendy, a couple chapters probably getting Gray and Urza and Juvia, because Juvia's going to be with Gray. Probably get Gajeel, because you're going to have a, like, the reason Gajeel's gonna be like 3 chapters, with like 2.5 of them being him fighting Natsu, just because, and who knows where everybody else is and what they're doing,
right?
Which also will affect how long it takes for them to be recruited.
Because
but the other one the one I think might take the most. Now, this is only a possibility. The one who might take the most amount of chapters once we find them to recruit them back is probably going to be Elfman.
I can see that being a thing.
Because of the fact that just the state of mind he was in a year ago. And the fact that he's nowhere, like, you would have figured he would have traveled with his sisters. No, he didn't. He's on the other side of the continent. According to Lucy's information.
Right.
Which, even according to her, isn't 100% gonna be able to, isn't all the information they need to actually locate them, because they don't go. So, it's definitely gonna be interesting to see where they go. I just hope that we don't get too many chapters on too many more chapters with Wendy, because, I mean, even in this chapter, you had Lamia Scale saying, we knew this all along, that eventually Fairy Tail would get back together, so not that big of a deal. We were prepared. We already knew you were going to have to leave us at some point. So the only thing that's holding her back is the fact that she feels that she needs to stay with Sharia, who even herself said, you don't have to worry about it. I'm not going to be alone if you leave. I have the guild. So, it's just the unnecessary, like I said earlier, it's unnecessary extension.
Yeah.
But however, we did have the the funny moment of Sharia hijacking Happy. That was, I laughed for a good minute with that.
I laughed because Natsu said Happy's been kidnapped. I thought that was pretty funny. He did was just fly her up. It's not like she grabbed him and ran. And he said, he said Happy's been kidnapped. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, the other interesting thing that, people noted about this chapter was the fact that, which makes sense, but people are making a fuss about it, is the fact that Carla is in her human form for flying Wendy around. Which makes sense because,
she's stronger.
She would be stronger and be able to hold on to her better.
Mm-hmm.
But the deal that the big deal they're making out of it is the fact that they feel like maybe that she might start spending most of her time in the human form, as opposed to, the cat form. Which, who knows? But I don't care either way.
Same.
Just as long as he doesn't do too many fan service scenes with her human form, because then that just gets ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
There's only so much, of that we can take, and so anyway. But at least next chapter we're gonna get some fighting.
Yeah.
And get to see some results of training, because most likely what's going to happen is that the Sharia and Wendy are probably going to go after the main guild members, or the main guys, whereas the rest of the guild and Natsu and Lucy are going to take out the 100,000 monsters?
Yeah.
When I saw that horde of monsters, before even Wendy and Sharia took to the sky, and I just thought Natsu was just gonna take a deep breath and blow up fire and just destroy them all in one shot.
Well, he should have just had them all step aside and then open up his eyes real wide, have a big boom go, and then half of them start foaming at the mouth and drop.
No, this isn't gonna be friggin' Luffy. They don't have that ability, and it's not Toriko, so there's no intimidation on mass that they could do on a mass scale like that. So anyway, it was I enjoyed it. Overall, I think the chapter was okay. I just didn't like I'm interested for the next chapter, but I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't happy about the fact that they created a situation that's unnecessarily extending this part of the arc.
Yeah, I thought it was a decent chapter.